throughout today and now the wrap-up session. Howard University has been identified with Africa since its inception, but in the last century it's been a key place for not only the study of Africa, but activism on Africa. Howard was the first university in this country to offer courses on Africa. Leo Hansberry, for instance, was here. And it was also a place where activism really was generated on African issues. I'm a historian, so I like to keep abreast of these things. But in 1935, there was a major conference here critiquing colonialism in Africa. And of course, subsequently, over the decades, there have been many more examples of not only the academic study of Africa, but activism on African issues as well. And so we're very pleased that we have a number of faculty who have been involved in both academic work and activism. And of course, we have a number of current students and past students who have been involved on African issues. I'm so pleased that for this particular symposium, some of our recent graduates have been key figures in organizing everything. So Africa and African activism is part of the DNA of this institution. And so we're very pleased to welcome all of you today, and we hope that obviously this is not going to be the last session in which we all come together and talk about what is going on now with U.S. foreign policy and what is going on in Africa. So again, we welcome everybody, and we're very pleased to use the university as a way of getting together on this important occasion. Thanks.
Thank you, Bob.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Hi, I am Carrie Miller, and I recently worked on the Fulbright Africa program, and I'm now going to be representing very soon Howard University. I'll be working in the Provost's office very soon doing the honors program. So I'm very excited to be returning home. I see some of my professors smiling because they don't know this news, but I will be in your offices soon. I graduated from Howard in 2009, and what was significant about that is in 2005, I met a really beautiful young lady named Onyango Reggie, and she is one of the organizers of this event, and she's at the door, and I wanted to thank her for putting all of this together. I had a chance encounter with Onyango Reggie, and she never lets me forget this day. But it was in 2005, and it was our graduate student orientation. And for those of you who know me, you know that I am a very introverted person, and I don't like talking to people much. And I met Onyango at a table, and she started talking and talking and talking and talking, and I wanted her to leave me alone because I was just there for the orientation. But that young lady soon became my very best friend in the program. And she actually taught me the difference between African studies and African activism. And it's from her leadership that she actually grew several leaders within the department and taught us and trained us on Africa activism and being leaders for Africa. And I see a lot of the faces of the people who learned from Onyango and grew from Onyango, including a young lady named Anita Wheeler, who is now Anita Plummer, who's also an organizer of this event.
Then we ask you stand, please.
And those two people have continued to be organizers for Africa and leaders in this environment. And I thank them both for being a part of my life and a part of this movement that we put together through the USA Africa Network. So what we wanted to do today in bringing a close for this meeting is we wanted to have an open conversation. And within that open conversation, which Prexy will be leading, is we want to hear your voices. We want to hear what's next for your movements, for the African movements that we discussed today, and for us as an organization. So with that said, I want to turn it over to Prexy.
Thank you very much, Sister Carrie. I want to thank all of you for participating in this. It's been a wonderful, wonderful gathering and coming together, kind of baraza. And I would also like to say to you that in the U.S. Africa Network, we have a style of working. And we, in this last session, want to kind of honor that style. And that style is sharing a lot of thoughts with each other. There is no hierarchy of input. There is a sharing of ideas and thoughts. And my name's Prexy Nesbitt, I should have said. I've been around some Africa work for a few years now, about 10 or 15, something like that. And relatively, you can see how young I still keep myself looking and so forth. If my son was here, he'd say, "Daddy, take that and go on away from here." But we do want you to begin to think about some of the fundamental questions that we come away from today. And one of the questions that I would like to pose to you to think about is that we've had extraordinary input, wonderful input, a lot of analysis, a lot of thinking. What's the next step? What's the next step? What's the imminent step that stands before us now that we have to take as organizations, as individuals, as an organization in this country at this time? So we want to put that forward to you to think about and to share with us. There is, again, there's no hierarchy here. Anybody, please feel free to either come up to the microphone, or if you have the kind of voice that can project with no problem, you are more than free to speak from where you are. But we do want you to think sort of the question, what's next? What do we say in the way that Cabral said years and years ago, when he said to people, always bear in mind? What are the things that we're going to have to begin to bear in mind about this country? And I think we do this in another spirit that I also once had the great fortune of being present when Cabral talked about that, and that was that we do it in a very sisterly and brotherly way, and with the added, I think, addition of the word comrade to that. So I like to call people sister comrade, or sister brother, or brother comrade, or sister. The trade union movement has that tradition as well. So let's share with each other in that sense, please. And as you come forward and begin to speak, and bear in mind, we don't have until 9 o'clock tonight to do this. So do share, but share with us cogently and in a way that respects the desire that you have to also hear from other people. Brother Horace, would you identify yourself?
Yes, my name is Brother Horace. I'm a service in the vineyard, and I want to thank you, Prexy, who's been doing this for a very long time. People like Bill Minton, you and Bill Minton, the work you do in Mozambique. We have to make sure that younger people know this work. One of the things I think we need to do is, in the traditions of the past, we don't just have meetings like this. We can say we passed a number of resolutions that came out of this discussion today. And I would like to put forward that there should be some things that we have agreed on today out of all the sessions. Rather, did we agree today that the African Network in the United States should be a watchdog for the Stolen Assets Initiative? So we do not follow the World Bank line about governance and good governance, but we and all of our platforms keep a track of stolen assets. And every time we have information, there is a central database that we present information on stolen assets. Secondly, 60 years after Patrice Lumumba was assassinated, should the first African-American president of the United States not release the files of the complicity of the United States of America in the assassination of Patrice Lumumba, in the context of saying we want a new relationship with Africa? Number three, should we, all of us who are supposed to be from the grassroots, have a clear watch list of those organizations that pretend to be what they call non-governmental organizations, but are actually doing the work for the Defense Department in destroying Africa and subversive? Number four, should this body not make a clear statement on Palestine? Because we have this, I think I should hear more people applauding. Because it's unconscionable that we have a meeting of the US-Africa Network when these crimes of genocide are carried out in Gaza, and we come here and meet, and as if nothing happens.